Alright, welcome to another episode of Soto Desperado Plays ArkAscended. This Alpha Carno was hanging around my base too long. And I had forgotten about this. So once I hit him, I should be able to get credit for his death. I got him. So he's dying in those spikes I left last time when I was with the other tribe. I can't destroy the spikes, but I figured I'd try to use them to try to kill him. Because he keeps hanging around my base, and I don't like that. I don't like it with alphas. Oh, he made it out. Oh, shit. Oh, he only does 64 damage. There we go. I got him. Yeah. Yeah, man. That means I'm going to get some good shit. I got a crossbow. And I got another one of these. Some arrows. I got the thing. Oh, okay. And I got some chitin leggings. Got 4 levels. Cool. Shit, I'm gonna put that in my life. Alright, so this thing did come in handy. You gotta use your environment against your enemy, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, I'm gonna get some videos set up. I just needed to get that on camera because I didn't think I was gonna be able to do that. So we'll park over here, get some stam. Yeah. Just had my breakfast. Gonna have my coffee. Thought I'd have some fun. Let's see what we can find here. Oh, I just saw Millionaire Morning Show. I don't record him because he usually will have graphics and things in there. And it's very political with him. I don't want to overdo it. Let's see. Oh, this guy. The poor kid. He's so young. He has so much potential. It's just wasting his time with stupid shit. Having this negative perspective. It's just not worth it. Anyway, we'll go ahead and listen. That's one. Blacklisted by Hollywood, brother. You got old, brother. Happens. A lot of people, when they get old, Hollywood don't want them no more. It's obvious. Look at his face, man. He's ancient. Yes, so ancient one. She's so cute. Well, watch with that thing. Don't be waving around too much, honey. Oh, I haven't had any Michaels out on there. I don't do him because he's got a lot of visuals. It's dependent upon visuals. Hellcat. Okay.
You know, there's been a...
Alright, so we got 3 here. Okay, they're about 20 minutes each. So let's do that. We'll do this young man first. Born into a corrupt system. I'm already a subscriber. Life is not only pointless, but also boring. Jesus. I don't know. It's a little early in the morning for this, but I'll go for it. This poor kid. Look at him. Look at his little glasses. I feel sorry for people like this. This young men that they have so much potential, but they have absolutely nothing to fucking work with. Anyway. Let's see.
Today's video requests. Life is not only pointless, it's also boring. Let's get on into the topic. And thank you for the request. I've said this plenty times in the past. Life feels very stale. Everything in life gets played out. Everything gets boring, mainly. You know? It's like when you get a new phone, you're all hyped. Then like maybe a few days later, you're like, all right, it's just a phone. Because really, that's all it is. I mean, it has all the features, but, you know, everything just seems stale, you know? You always have like that fantasy of like, man, I wish I had that life of a rich person. Which, don't get me wrong, I would too. It's definitely better being rich than broke, you know, yeah. But, you know, you think if you're rich, you can do anything you want. Which you can. But it eventually probably gets boring. Going on vacation, doing this, doing that, you know, doing the same things over and over would most likely get boring. But even though, I'd rather have that life any day than be broke. And I'm sure anyone here would, you know. Because it's just... Because when you're unfortunately broke, not only is life more boring, it's more stressful. You know, you can't really do anything. You can't do anything. You'll literally fucking starve. You'll literally rot alive. To the point where you really just want to be dead, you know. Sad. Life's boring either way, but at least I'd rather be bored rich than bored broke. And I'm sure anyone here would probably agree. But it's just, no matter what though, everything in life just becomes overrated, just becomes boring. Like Grand Theft Auto. I always like to bring up Grand Theft Auto. I don't know if anyone here is the same, but when I used to play GTA, I used to get on in like maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe sometimes maybe 20 minutes max. I'll start getting bored. I'll be like, all right, fuck this, I'm gonna get off. But then it's weird, I'll get off it and I start to crave to want to get back on it. It's weird. It's like you crave, you want to get back on the game, but then as soon as you get back on the game, you're like, oh, wow, this is what I was craving. Like now I'm already bored. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's fucking strange, man. But anyway, what I'm trying to say though is that's life, you know. Sometimes once people, let's say, achieve everything they want, like let's say for example they want to go to this location, you know, they want to go to Florida, here, wherever. After that, it's like, all right, I did everything, you know, like I accomplished life, let's just say. Now it's just boring. But how I look at it as, I'd rather be bored, but at least not under any stress. But still, boredom sucks. But really, the main reason of being bored and stressed is because of money. There's so many things we want to do, and there's so many things we may want to have, excuse me, that we can't because we don't have enough money for it. And this is where boredom and stress and just everything hits you. You know, it's like a brick, basically. And it's just boring because we just literally do the same shit over and over. We literally get up, go to work, come home. Get up, go to work, come home. How many times do I say this? It's the fucking truth. Out of bed, work. Out of work, home, back in bed. You know, you get the drill, and it just goes on and on and on. Nobody sees that stale. Nobody sees something wrong with that, you know. Now, I'm not saying, like I always say, I'm not saying don't work. I mean, unfortunately, we have no fucking choice. We need that stupid paper. But I just find it boring. I say to myself, is this what I got to do for decades and decades and decades? And pretty much, yeah, this is what I got to fucking do. This is what we all pretty much sadly got to do for decades and decades.
Yeah.
And this is why I say to myself, I'm doing all this to survive in a world where I'm just so bored of at this point. Like, why even bother surviving? What is the point in surviving? I want to survive and be happy. I want to survive and have a good life. That's what life should really be about. They say enjoy life while you can, right? Well, this ain't enjoying life. At least I don't look at it as enjoying life. This is just making ends meet every day. If even that. This is all we're doing. We're just trying to keep our head above water. Above paper, I should say. We're literally just trying to keep our head above the money, man. We got to have that money to pay these bills over and over and over and over and over. And man, look at the roads. Tell me if anyone here, how the roads are in your area. I mean, probably in some places they're probably good. I'm not saying it's bad in the whole world, but I could definitely tell you most of New York, it's horrible. Even in New Jersey. I was in New Jersey a couple of weeks ago and fucking, it was bad. Potholes here, they don't even patch it at least. Some places do, but some places don't. It's crazy. It's just a never-ending nightmare, you know? It's like, this is all we fucking do to life, man. And then, it's not like I'm trying to, like, whine about it, but I'm just trying to, like, just describe what I think about it. And obviously what I think about it doesn't matter, but I still make the videos anyway for the comfort of you people. And also, it does help me get, you know, some shit off my chest making these videos. Because truth is, before I started out these videos, I used to have all these thoughts in my mind, and I just couldn't express it anywhere. I would like have to just talk to the wall. Then I'll be like, hey, yo, wall, this is how I feel about life, man. Your life sucks. All we do is work all day. You get what I mean? That's basically what I guess you could say I was doing before I made a video. I was basically just talking what I'm saying on the camera to the wall. But that's no fun. The wall doesn't really hear you. Well, you never know. But then it just felt like, you know what, let me get a camera and do it. Well, my phone camera, you know, but you get the idea. Camera. Phone camera, any camera. And that's how I started making the videos, and I started getting it all off my chest. And then luckily, so many people feel the same. Because, you know, at some point in time, I thought I was kind of alone, you know. It's like, it's weird. I knew for some crazy reason that I wasn't alone, but I still kind of thought I was alone, if that makes any sense. But it's crazy, man. And then how we just keep getting belittled and shit like that. You know, I'm not negative. I'm not a depressed individual. I just see for what it is, and I just say to myself, this shit's whack, man. This shit's whack. It's like, this game is whack. What, am I considered depressed? I don't like this certain video game. I'm depressed. I'm negative. I should go see a therapist because everyone loves this video game. Well, that's like the same thing with life. This shit's whack. I'm just surviving to pay bills. I'm just surviving to make the government rich. I'm just fuel to them. I'm just fuel. I'm nothing more than that. We're nothing more than that. We're just fuel. We're not invited into their club. We're working for them while they enjoy their club. That's how I really look at it as. And it's really, when you really narrow it down, it's the fucking truth. Because I just don't understand how people enjoy doing this, man. And I have friends that you talk about this and they look at you like you're an asshole, whatever. Well, I look at them the same way, because how do you not see this shit for what it is, man? I'm not saying don't work. You know, a lot of people be like, well, bro, if we don't work, how are we going to make money? I know. It's not like I'm saying don't, but I'm saying, how do people just accept it? I mean, I know we have no choice, but people actually like it or see nothing wrong with it. That's the question I always ask myself, man. What's wrong with people, man? How could people be this stupid? I mean, it just amazes me how much the IQ shrinks over the years that go by. Literally. The IQ just gets lower and lower in humans, man. That's how I look. It's not even how I look at it. It's just common. It's the truth. It's a fact. Think how stupid this sounds. And I pretty much, I believe I said this a lot of times. I was put in this world to go to school, go to get a job, or college, then a job, or whatever the fuck, and do all this hard work. And what's my prize in the end? To just die? To To just die? All right, you did your time, man. Congratulations. He was a hard worker. He did everything he could. He tried to make good ends meet. He was a soldier, man. What the fuck was the point of that? If think of it this way. If I could have prevented all this from happening, I fucking would. And I'm not trying to sound dark, but if I knew this is what I was being brought into, and there's something I can do about it to prevent it, you bet your ass I would do it. I would fucking rewind time or whatever the hell. Because what the hell what's the purpose of all this? I'm just gonna die anyway. You know? Now, I'm not trying to say let's all end our lives. I'm just saying, what I'm basically saying is, if I knew where I was getting myself into and I could have prevented it from happening to begin with, I would. And I'm pretty much sure everyone here would. Because what is the point? I come here, I'm stressed, I get anxiety, I'm under pressure constantly, and then I die. And most likely you're in that same non-existent state. So what the hell is the sense of even coming out? Now, I don't know if there's an afterlife or not, but if there is an afterlife, why do we gotta wait so damn long to enter it? It's like, why? It's like, alright, let's say there's a God, right? Why is he making us suffer? You know, that's the big question. Is it because Jesus suffered for us, so now in return we got to suffer to one day get that good life in heaven? I mean, I don't know. Like, what is the meaning of all this? Why does this even have to be this way? There's just so many questions, man. And I'm not saying God exists or God don't exist. I don't know. But if he does exist, I definitely have a lot of questions, man. Yeah. Why do people got to suffer from illnesses, you know? That's the thing I always, if there's a God, that's what I'm going to ask. There's a lot of questions.
A promise to pay.
Why is it the way it is? Well, true. How does this all become how did this all even become to begin with? That's basically, it's just a big mystery. Why are we living like this? How did it all start, you know? I know money mainly started from, trading. I trade you this if you give me that. And then, became a deal. And that's how money just started growing over time. And here we are today. But I mean, maybe I can understand money existing for certain things, but I just feel like it becomes overrated. It's too much. Every little thing. And then everything's got to keep getting more expensive. Your pay barely goes up. If you want your pay to possibly go up, you got to get another job. Just to possibly make enough pay now for your bills. Yippee! There's no enjoyment out of that money. You can't enjoy really anything that you made because you're just pissing it away on bills and whatever, food, whatever. Things that you unfortunately need to survive. When you're just surviving stalely. I know that's not, I don't think, a word, but you know what I mean? You're surviving being bored. There's so many things you'd rather be doing, but you literally can't do because you don't have enough money to do it. You literally don't have enough money to do it. Because all that money you made, you already threw it away on bills. So now you're just bored. Your only life is work and sleep, home, that's it. There's practically no enjoyment. And that's why life gets so boring, in my opinion. And just in general, life, how I look at it as life gets boring either way. Because there's people that say, well, if you don't work and let's say you do this all the time, you're always going here, going there, wouldn't that get boring? Truth is, maybe. But the only beautiful thing of that is, at least I'm not under any stress and I'm not tied down in any way. I have freedom, sort of, because I have enough money to do whatever the hell I want, even though it may get boring. But see, people look at that as eventually getting boring, but people don't look as just working to get boring. Working keeps me busy, man. It keeps my mind occupied. Well, there's so many other things you could do to keep your mind occupied. Oh, no, man, that should get boring. Everything, it's like we're taught to believe everything gets boring except working. That don't get boring, huh? That doesn't get boring. Because we're all brainwashed into that's what we need to do to survive, which is true. But that doesn't mean, that it gets boring. Even though we need to do it to survive, it gets fucking boring. Because what's the hell is the point of surviving to just be bored and under stress? That's the thing. That's the big question. What's worth it? Why is it worth being like that? It's like we think everything else would get boring, but life itself gets boring. Everything gets boring. No, man, sitting around all day gets boring. Yeah, it does. But if you have, let's say, money, you don't have to sit around. You could do whatever the hell you want. You can go here, you can go there, you're free. But no, man, when you want to work, keep your mind busy. There could be things that I really want to do that I could actually finally do now because work doesn't get in the way of it, that work sadly does get in the way of. That's the thing. We can never admit or accept that working gets boring. This whole society that we follow gets boring, and it's stale, and it's stressful. It's all of the above. And it's just crazy, man. You're going to get bored traveling the world. Yeah, you're probably right. But you know what? At least I'm not under really any stress. I have some sort of freedom. Well, because I'm a multi-billionaire, let's say. But, yeah, maybe it will get boring. I'm not disagreeing on that. But what I am disagreeing is how people, those type of people say, well, working won't ever get boring because working, I'm keeping my mind busy. If I didn't work, I'll go crazy. There's so many things you can do that doesn't revolve working. Work out, go to a gym, do a hobby, whatever the hell it is. But no, we can't do those things because work comes in the way of it. And then work manipulates us into thinking this is healthy. It's not healthy. It's not healthy doing this. You think, come on, how does this sound? It's healthy to work your ass off to make money just to throw away on bills. What if you want to try to enjoy some of that money? Maybe you have a little money left over that you could somehow maybe enjoy, but most of the time, you don't. If you want maybe that little bit more of money, you got to get a second job. One job's a pain in the fucking ass. Now I got to do another one. And still, who knows if it's like I'm still not even ahead of the game. I'm just a little bit above the water now. The first job, I was literally under the water. I wasn't surviving. Now with the second job, I'm just skinning by. Literally, I'm just skinning by. That's enjoying. That's healthy. This is the big dream. Come on, man. Seriously, people got to wake up. And I mean, this is fucking ridiculous, guys. This is crazy to think that this is healthy. This is how it should be. We're just suckers, man. And everything just keeps going up more and more and more and more. We're literally being worked to the grave, man. We're working our, there's a word, but I can't think of it right now, man. Fungulo. We're literally being worked to the ground, to the grave, however you would say it. There was a certain word, but I can't fucking think of it out of my head right now, which pisses me off. But you get my drift. At least I would hope. This is something I don't believe I ever mentioned before. But let's say you don't got to go to work the very next day. Doesn't it feel some sort of peace knowing that tonight when you go in your bed, you don't got to worry about getting up early the next day? You could actually feel some sort of ease feeling knowing I can sleep a little late to however time I want, to whatever time I want. And then now compared to when you got to work the next day, you just get that horrible feeling in your chest. You just feel that horrible feeling like knowing I'm going to go in this bed just to early get out of it. Some people like me, you can't even sleep because you just know the very next day you got to get up just to go to this stupid place again every fucking day that you really don't want to go to, but you have no damn choice. Right there, it's like you just get racing thoughts all night. I don't know if everyone's like this, but a lot of people, including myself, I think like that, Like I feel more cozy when I go to bed knowing that I don't got to do nothing the next day, work-wise, sheep-wise. And then when there is that night where, you got to go the next day, you don't feel right. You just feel like sick inside. You just feel like, you just feel sick. You just feel depressed. Like, I can't believe I got to go another day. And especially when it's a Sunday night, that's got to be the worst, man. That's got to be the fucking worst. And today is Sunday. So, yeah, for example, the very next day, I'm off Monday, thankfully. But you get what I mean, man. Sunday night, knowing that, here we go again, man. Here we go with the same stale work week. I got to get up early, stuck in traffic, dealing with a bunch of assholes. Now I finally get to work. Who knows what assholes I may deal with at the job, including the boss itself. But I got to be nice. I can't talk back to him because then that piece of shit prick will fucking fire me. And then here I am in more hell than I already am being there. It's like I'm just in hell regardless. But at least I'm getting some sort of paycheck. But then again, what's really the point? Because it's just going on bills. It's just really a tease. That money I make, it's going down the drain. It's all we're getting paid for. We just work to pay our bills. That's it. That's all it is. Nothing spectacular. It's sad. But, you know, that Sunday night, you're just like, damn, man, I can't believe I got to wake up the next day. And Monday, and Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday. And then, yay, TGIF, meaning thank God it's fucking Friday. Yay, I'm off Saturday. Yay, I'm off Sunday. But then Sunday rolls in again, and here you go. You already feel that same way. You only get 2 fucking days off, man. You work 5, and let me not forget to say that there are people that work 7 days a week. And my heart truly goes for you people. My heart goes for all you fucking people, including myself. Now, that's why I'm making these videos, man. But not that it's sadly going to change anything, unfortunately. But you know what I mean, man. It's just such a horrible fucking feeling, man. Some people can't even sleep. And that's the thing. Go to bed early. It's hard. Just knowing, oh, you got to go to bed early. Right there brings you more anxiety because you can't. You know, some people like myself, I'm used to going to bed at a certain time. So now knowing I got to go to bed earlier because this is what I got to do so early in the morning going to work, it's hard. Some people be like, well, get on schedule, man. You know, yeah, like it's so fucking easy. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not easy. Just that your dumbass sheep ass can do it, which happy for you, doesn't mean I can do it or, you know, it's hard. And it just makes the anxiety rise. At least for me it does. Because I'm in the bed, it's just a tease. I can't even get comfy because I just know in my mind I'm going to get uncomfortable when I have to wake up the next day to go to fucking work. It's just a horrible feeling, man. You can't even feel at ease. You can't even, like, relax because you already know the next day is going to come and God knows what I'm going to go through that next day. And not only the next day, the whole fucking week. The whole 5-day weekday. So you just barely sleep. You barely get relaxed. And then this is life. This is what they say, enjoy life while you can. This is what I got to do while I can. This is considered enjoying. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say anymore, people. I really don't. If that's the case, I don't know. I don't know how that's enjoying. That's just sacrificing. Yeah, I agree. Like, that's just sacrificing, man. That's just trying to make ends meet. That's just trying to survive. And I say to myself, why do we got to even try to survive? We don't even want to be here to begin with. We don't even want to be here most of the time because of the way life is. Yet we got to do this to survive. To survive for what? We just keep doing this meaningless fucking pathetic routine over and over and over. I'd rather be fucking dead. Now, if life is actually worth living, yeah, I want to live, I guess. You know, I'm not trying to sound like a dark person where I just want to die. I can't stand it, man. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to end it. You know, I'm not trying to be like that, but I say to myself, what the hell's the point of doing all this for the rest of our life, man? You're literally, you know, that's literally suicide in itself doing that. The way life is, the working and shit, it's like suicide on your body. It's like you're slowly killing yourself. It is. That's literally like what you're doing. You're slowly killing yourself. You're slowly killing your body until you start developing problems and then later on possibly die then. But in the meantime, the suffering and misery that, you know, awaits us or that we're currently going through at the moment. It's just, it's bullshit. I look at it as complete bullshit, man. Man, anyway, fellas, I am going to wrap it up for now, guys. Turn back on your dumbass light. Anyway, yeah, I am going to wrap it up for now, guys. I love you all, man. I always say this towards the end of the video because I truly mean it. I really do love you all. I don't know who anyone here is. Well, you know, real life-wise. But I do recognize a lot of people's comments, and it does make me happy to see the same people comment. Sometimes when I don't see a certain person comment for a while, I get kind of worried because, like, I hope he's all right, you know, or she, he, she, whoever it is, you know. So there are comments that I recognize, and, of course, there's new people that I start to, you know, try to remember. But, you know, it's always a blessing, you know, having you guys watch the videos, and, you know, it makes me happy, man. It really does, that everyone here can relate and understand. And I truly hope the community always stays this way. I know every here and there you're going to get these assholes that come in, these trolls, and it's just nothing, unfortunately, you can do. It is what it is, unfortunately, you know. But one beautiful thing is the majority of people have common sense, or not dumbasses like some people will be that come here time to time. But fortunately, there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, I do really appreciate you all. That, you know, I'm glad that I make you people feel less alone. And there's a lot of people say that I help ease your life a bit. And I truly appreciate, you know, I'm truly thankful for that, man. I'm truly am. That makes me feel good inside because I'm actually helping people out. That really does. I'm not just saying that to make myself look good. I really fucking mean it, man. Me hearing somebody say, you're helping me function better, you know, that really brings my heart warm, you know. That does. Because the world we live in is just so cold that even if I can just, by saying words out of my mouth, could make somebody feel a little bit better, that's just, I feel like that's a big achievement for me, you know. And I'm truly thankful for that because that's what I like to do. I like to help people out. I like to make people feel less alone. And in return, your people are helping me out as well. So it's like one hand washes the other, literally. You're washing my hands, I'm washing your hands. Possibly feet too. But I tell you one thing, I'm not really a big fan of feet. But fuck it, man. I'll wash your feet too, man. I love you all. But anyway, take it easy for now, guys. Love you all. And I'm going to stop, you know, babbling like I always fucking do and call it a night. Peace out. Love you.
Got his ass kicked good. That bird got his ass kicked good. I got dismounted and then it started pursuing me. That beehive's the son of a bitch. But you got to know how to do it. You got to have a bear so you don't get dismounted, which I don't have. And you gotta have wildflowers or some shit in your hand in order to get the queen. Somebody destroyed the nest and the queen's running around. You know, I figured I'd kill the queen, see if I can get some honey, but nah. The bird doesn't do enough damage to accomplish that goal. So, because this is a level 40 bird. On a base level, I think 220 is the highest level. But this is just a level 40 that went up to 108 with, leveling up. There we go. Anyway, let me find a place I can go to. It's a 120 aloe. Let's see. Any place unreachable? Well, I see if I can park here, I guess. There we go. See, he's right. I mean, he knows he's a slave. He's acknowledging he's a slave. He figures it's unfair that he can't enjoy some of the money he has because it's not worth anything anymore. But the system, I mean, look at the title, Born into a Corrupt System. The whole point of corruption is to screw you out of what's rightfully yours. That's the whole point. So he's just basically, he doesn't mean to, but he's crying about it because he can't enjoy the money, you know? It's like, dude, I mean, I make, what, almost 2,000 take home, which is nothing. 2,000 take home is nothing on one job. But it's an easy job, you know? I need easy job because I'm sick. But the thing is, I only get to enjoy like a couple of $100, maybe $300. Everything else goes to the basics. And I mean enjoy, I don't mean entertainment necessarily. I mean like, you know, foods and things like that that I buy to feel good. But it's nowhere near enough, a reward. You know, it's all corruption. Anyway, here's Michael Borgenero. It's about they're desperate to keep home prices high forever.
A lot of talk over the past couple of years of a potentially coming 40-year or even 50-year mortgage in the future. In fact, if you are an FHA borrower right now and you're in distress and you have a 30-year mortgage, you can actually get your 30-year mortgage extended to a 40-year mortgage already in order to lower your bills to the point where supposedly you can afford it, which is kind of just like kicking the can down the road. And probably most likely anyone in that situation will end up defaulting on that loan anyways in the future as life continues to get more expensive, especially if their income doesn't go up. But I'm seeing more and more proponents and more people out there advocating for the 40-year mortgage becoming a standard so people can afford housing, guys. And I am going to go through this and tell you guys why this is not a good idea. Now, on the surface, if you're a home buyer today and you cannot afford to buy in this environment, a 40-year mortgage might sound appealing to you because it might be the only way that you could afford to buy a home. But therein lies the problem right there. If this is the only way that people can afford to buy homes, then there's something fundamentally wrong with our housing market and our economy, right? Because this was never the case up until now, right? We know that the pandemic basically caused this with all the inflation and all the money that was printed during this time frame. And it wasn't even really the illness itself, it was more just the government's reaction to it that led us to where we're at now. But instead of focusing on a 40-year mortgage or a 50-year mortgage or however long the financing term needs to be to make the payments affordable, the focus should be on why are houses so expensive to begin with and how can we reverse that? Well, the true answer to that, I think the government and everybody in charge already knows. They just don't want it. And that would be deflation. You know, we've had inflation, which caused everything to get so expensive. Well, we need deflation to bring the price of things down. And the only way that's going to happen is if they start shrinking the money supply. But shrinking the money supply is in direct contrast with what the government is trying to do, because they're running an ever bigger deficit, and the only way they can continue doing that is if they keep increasing the money supply, not shrinking it. So this goes against their best practices, so to speak. So there's this guy, John Hope Bryant. He is the CEO of Operation Hope, a financial literacy nonprofit. And he wrote a story recently talking about how if we were to extend the 30-year mortgage to the 40-year mortgage, this would be the greatest thing in order to get people into a house today. He proposes the 40-year mortgage using the Federal Home Loan Bank system as the framework, with federal subsidies for first-time home buyers who complete financial literacy training. Now, obviously, this benefits his company directly because, his company is a financial literacy nonprofit, right? Well, these nonprofits are usually a scam, if you ask me, first of all. But even if it isn't, this government subsidy greatly stands to benefit his organization, right? No doubt. If first-time home buyers are getting a subsidy to take these financial literacy courses conveniently provided by him, well, I guess somebody benefits here, right? Here's what he says. By making homeownership more attainable for more Americans, we lay the foundation for a more resilient economy. Homeowners are more likely to save, invest in their communities, and contribute to economic stability. A 40-year mortgage would also better align with today's life expectancy rate. Oh, so just because you live longer means that you should be in debt longer, right? That's the obvious answer to that. I mean, duh, why didn't we think of that earlier? We're living longer. We should just have more payments and, a longer time frame to pay these out. This makes sense. Now, here's what the difference would look like right now if we were to do this. If you put 20% down, which already most people don't do that, but that's kind of like the standard down payment if you don't want to pay private mortgage insurance, and we use the median home price of $412,000, that would result in a monthly payment of $1,930 for a 40-year mortgage compared to $2,083 for a 30-year mortgage. So you can see, guys, the difference really isn't that much, and that's why I think this 40-year mortgage is a complete bogus scam. I mean, we're literally talking about barely saving $150 a month today at today's interest rates and today's prices for homes. I mean, that's not breaking the bank for most people. And if you're going to be spending close to $2,000 a month on a mortgage payment and you want to be a homeowner, a big boy for real, you don't want to be a renter anymore, well, guess what? You got to be able to come up with that extra $150 a month on the fly anytime you need it, because as a homeowner, I can guarantee you will need it. And of course, there's the obvious downside to this. You're paying interest for 40 years instead of 30 years. A lot of people today already want to pay off their 30-year mortgage early because they don't want to become a victim of the 30-year mortgage paying 30 years worth of interest. Unless you're somebody that has an interest rate in the low threes right now, most people are probably going to attempt to pay that off earlier. But this just puts people in debt for an extra 10 more years. And if you look at an amortization schedule for a mortgage, guys, even right now at 30 years, you can see how much interest you pay over the life of that loan. And at 40 years, I don't even want to know what that looks like. That has to be terrifying. But this guy Brian says that this is just a small drawback if it means more people could buy homes and start building equity. Because the alternative for a lot of people is renting indefinitely, which builds no equity and leaves families vulnerable to rising rents and economic displacement. A 40-year mortgage allows more people to begin building equity sooner, offering a pathway to long-term financial stability and sustained human dignity. Now, there is some truth to the fact that if you become a homeowner, you take more pride in the place you live in, and you maybe do want to contribute more to the community or become more of a community staple. But you got to understand that not everybody even wants to become a homeowner, first of all. And everybody who would be in favor of this wants this because they want housing to be more affordable, right? This is going to make it so that your payment is lower, right? Not by much, as I just showed you. But the whole idea is to lower your payment. So if housing becomes a little more affordable monthly payment-wise, but the price doesn't change, well, what do you think that's going to do to the price over a few years once this actually were to be implemented? The price would go up. Anytime you make it more affordable, just like they did during the pandemic to buy homes with these ultra low interest rates, the purchasing power went up, and therefore the demand for housing went up as well. And it wasn't just people moving into houses to live in. A lot of investors bought during this time frame too, because the deals were too good to pass up. So by lowering payments and offering 40-year mortgages, all you're going to do is drive the price of housing up even higher to the point where then the 40-year mortgage becomes unaffordable. So you see where this goes is it's a never-ending road of needing to extend the payment terms. The same thing's happening right now with auto loans. Before it seemed like for the longest time, the longest term you could get for an auto loan was like 5 years, guys. Now people are getting 7-8 year auto loans to be able to afford cars today. And what's happening with the price of these cars? They are exploding, right? The cost of these cars have gotten exponentially more expensive since the pandemic. So anytime you extend the financing on these things, it just makes it more expensive. But people like this think, oh, this is going to close the wealth gap in the country. It's going to decrease inequality. Like, that's all a pipe dream, guys. It's not. Maybe for a few 100,000 people that might be able to take advantage of this, like the early adopters of the 40-year mortgage, they might be able to get into a house they otherwise couldn't afford. But just that activity alone will be enough to drive prices up to the point where everybody else who wants to take advantage of it can't afford it anymore still. So we're back to square one. Didn't really solve any problems, just gave people more debt. And it's very profitable for this guy like Brian, because the people have to take those financial literacy courses. Well, here's a financial literacy course for you right now. Never take a 40-year mortgage, okay? It's a bad idea. Really bad idea. With the amount of interest you're going to pay over the life of that loan, I don't see in any world how that would be worth it. But hey, do what you want, guys. I highly suggest before doing what you want to actually calculate out that amortization schedule to see how much interest you will pay over the 40 years of that loan and see if you think it's worth it still. And I know sometimes these things that we hear, like the 40-year mortgage, might on the surface sound like a solution to the problem, but in reality, it's actually just a way to accentuate the problem. It's a temporary band-aid. The real answer to the problem would be to have no government intervention in what a house should cost or building one. That way people who wanted to build their own house had very little, if any, red tape, with maybe the exception of some zoning laws. You can't just build, a giant apartment building right in the middle of this neighborhood. Everything has to be kind of similar, right, for where you're putting stuff. But other than that, people should be able to build their own houses, get permits quickly. Even in neighborhoods like this, for example, they usually won't let you put a tiny house. Like, even if you could buy a vacant piece of land in a neighborhood like this, they won't let you put a tiny house on it because it doesn't jive well with the rest of the community.
But
what if you put
don't like tiny
3 or
homes.
4 tiny houses on it to make it almost look like it was one big house? Maybe that would be okay, right? But they don't want stuff like that to happen. Also, the interest rates were way too low for way too long, and the government buys all of these mortgage-backed securities. So every time, 90% of the loans out there, maybe 80% of the loans that are made to buy a piece of real estate, that mortgage ends up being bought by the federal government. You know, if that wasn't happening and all these lenders had to hold their own mortgages, you better believe they would be handing out significantly fewer mortgages because the risk would be substantially higher for them, you know, because they're the ones hanging on to that risk. So you're not going to see as many lenders just giving out money for people to go and buy homes and rubber stamping all these deals without too much effort if they had to take on the full responsibility of servicing that loan for 40 years. So the government easily gets in the way and makes things worse and has made housing way more expensive, guys. If the market set interest rates depending on the demand for loans, and there was less red tape for development and constructing your own house, and the government didn't buy mortgage-backed securities, you better believe housing would be a lot cheaper because the demand would be much lower. You know, you wouldn't have as many people able to buy so easily, and therefore there would be a lot of listings for sale, but not as many people who could actually buy it, which means the price would have to come down to the point where a lot of people could buy it, right? That's the real answer to this problem, but nobody wants that. Just like the government doesn't want deflation, they're doing everything they can in their power to keep the housing market high. You know, all of these housing stimulus programs are designed to help people buy houses at today's prices. None of these things are aimed at lowering the price of the current homes, you know, none of it. So when you look into some of these programs in more detail, you can start to see, when you look at what they actually do and not what they say, everything they do is designed at keeping home prices high. None of this is designed to make the prices come down, okay? So don't be fooled by this stuff. Wow, check out that old Corvette. You don't see that every day. And to be honest, guys, right now, at today's prices and interest rates, buying a home is a terrible deal. In fact, there was a story about how San Francisco is the worst place in the country to buy a home when you're looking at how much it would cost to rent versus buy. This is meanwhile, the home prices in San Francisco are crashing, okay? They were even more expensive than this 2 years ago, and they have been coming down substantially. In fact, some pockets of San Francisco, prices are down 20% from 2 years ago. You're also seeing listings there that are selling for less money today than they did in 2019. But the prices are still too expensive. In fact, so expensive that renting is a far better deal. Now, when you look at what it costs to rent a home in any given area over a 20-year time frame versus what it costs to buy that similar home, you get some very interesting numbers here. So the reason why San Francisco is such a bad deal is because when you look at the 20-year rent versus buy, it would cost you $1.2 million to be the owner of a property in San Francisco versus only $609,000 to be a renter of that very same house. So that's a 1.9 ratio, which is almost twice as expensive to be a homeowner as it is to be a renter. Now, there are still some places in the Midwest where it's cheaper to be a homeowner than it is to be a renter, but those places are disappearing pretty quickly. If you look in places like Houston, Texas, or Orlando, Florida, for example, it roughly is about the same cost to be a homeowner versus a renter. But the problem is the formula they use only looks at your monthly payment. This doesn't consider anything else when it comes to being a homeowner, guys. Like, you have a lot more expenses that come up as a homeowner that you just don't have as a renter. You need a roof replacement? It's on you. Need a new HVAC system? It's on you. Need to maintain the lawn outside? It's on you. Need to paint the house? All that's on you. Whereas when you rent, the landlord covers all of that on your behalf, and your monthly rent payment is the total that you will pay for housing that month. It doesn't go up from there like it does when you're a homeowner. And we take a look at this chart here, it shows you how bad these ratios are. In fact, San Jose, California is even worse than San Francisco. But all the top 4 of the worst cities in the United States to be a homeowner are in California. You have San Jose, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego. Okay, even when you look all the way at the bottom of this list, at Portland, Oregon, for example, to rent is $406K over 20 years versus being a homeowner is $537K. And some people might say, well, that extra $130,000 or so that you'll spend in being a homeowner, that you'll make up for it in, building equity in the property, and it's something that's yours or whatever. And that is sort of true, but think about how much money you're going to have to spend to build up that equity, guys. Not only are you going to have a higher monthly payment, but you're going to have all the expenses I just talked about and probably dozens of others that come up throughout the time frame you own that property. And then you can also say, well, rent prices rise over time, Michael, just like, homeowners' expenses are going to have to rise over time and they have to pay more. Renters pay more over time as well. So I recognize it's not just as simple as taking the payments over a 20-year time frame and reducing it down to that and saying, well, what's more expensive or what's cheaper? But it's always more expensive to be a homeowner, guys. Over the long run, unless your rent is increasing like crazy, which those increases are basically over now, and they probably will be for a long time because people can't afford to continually pay more with budgets already stretched as thin as they are. Versus as a homeowner, there's no limit to how much the expenses have gone up. Just look at condo owners right now with all of the big special assessments they have to pay. When homeowners get hit with some kind of natural disaster, insurance might cover some of it, but a large part of it might be on you in the form of a deductible or in the form of something that wasn't covered under the policy, versus if you live in a rental house that gets destroyed in some sort of natural disaster or takes on substantial damage, you can just move. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I'm not saying either that it's better to be a renter and renting is always better. I think that people who want to become homeowners should definitely do so. If it's a goal of yours for whatever reason, then do it. But don't pretend like it's so much cheaper than being a renter when in most cases it's not. Understand that going into it, being a homeowner, that you are going to have unexpected expenses and there's going to be things that you never had to deal with being a renter, and that's just part of being a homeowner. That's part of the reason you're seeing so many home buyers back out of contracts lately. In fact, there was a record 60,000 home buyers who backed out of contracts in July of 2024 because people are looking at the expenses to own these homes, and they're looking at how much their monthly payments are going to be once they factor in the insurance costs and maybe what the new property tax bill is going to be, all the utilities for that home, and they're like, wait a minute, this is way more than we thought it was going to be. Because initially when you just go to get a pre-approval for a mortgage, they're just looking at your income and they're telling you what you can afford based on that. And then you go around shopping for a house and they're not taking into consideration the unique expenses of every single house. And so that's where people, once you start running the numbers in detail, start understanding like, wait a minute, this is going to cost a lot more than we initially budgeted for. Maybe we should not buy this house, which is a smart thing to do. You better back out before it's too late, even if it means losing a small deposit, versus buying a house that becomes a money pit for you that you can't afford. That will ruin you financially much more than losing any deposit would. But this is a massive deal, guys. Like, you're talking 16% of the homes that went under contract in July got canceled, and that's the highest amount on record ever since they started keeping track in 2017. They say that the cancellations are also the highest in markets where builders have been active and the inventory of new homes have risen considerably. And I think people are more likely to back out of the transactions on the new build homes more than the resale homes because, maybe the house doesn't get done on time. People kind of take a second look at the area like, well, the development might be nice or the house is nice, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So there's kind of like more reasons for people to back out. One of the biggest reasons that people are backing out of new construction deals is because they have their house under contract. Let's say they agreed to buy the house for, $400,000, right? But they see that the neighbors, bought the house at $450,000, they're buying it at $400,000, and the people who bought it at $450,000 are trying to get out of the house and selling and already listing it at $380,000, right? So people look at this and say, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't buy this house. I'm buying into a falling knife right now. Buyers are also starting to notice the uptick in inventory. They're noticing how so many listings have price cuts that didn't have price cuts before, and this gives people hesitation. They're like, wait a minute, there's more options available. you know, I'm going to have a better shot at getting the house I want right now. I don't have so much to lose by backing out of the deal. And I don't blame people who are doing this. You know, inventory's up close to 30% year over year right now. And you have about 27% of listings getting a price cut right now. So that is huge. And I'm sure you're going to see the cancellations pick up even more into the future now that the new NAR rules are in effect and buyers have to agree to pay their own agents. You know, if they're already having hesitations now and people are already on the brink of unaffordability with the purchase as it stands, well, having to fork over extra money for their real estate agent could be the final death blow for these transactions. In fact, just look at yesterday's video. You know, I answered some people's questions regarding exactly that. You know, you have people that would be buyers right now but are going to sit this out because they're now on the hook for paying their real estate agent, guys. So this is going to make an already bad real estate market even worse for now. You also have a lot of people unsure about where the direction of the country is going. You know, it is an election year. A lot of new people could be in charge by the end of the year or early next year. Of course, people are also worried about the presidential election, and all that uncertainty has people holding off and wanting to just take the wait and see approach. This always usually happens in election years as well. Even during the last election year, I remember in 2020, a lot of the hesitation that buyers and sellers had back then because they weren't sure what was going to happen moving forward, you know? Now, I want to take a moment in this video to answer another viewer's question, which really is relevant to where I live in Florida. And they said, as you know, we have homestead exemptions in Florida, so some of us have lower taxes because we bought 20 years ago. 3% a year increase is allowed, and apparently taxes can go up if they raise the millage rate. I am not sure if Homestead keeps that down or not as far as millage rates goes. So my question is, can the county bypass the 3% restriction through a millage rate hike? And I'm so glad you asked this question because I actually talked about this maybe in one other video in the past, showing you how the homestead exemption is a scam, guys. And it's exactly for the reason as this person asked, you know, because they can raise millage rates anytime they want. You know, there is no restriction on how much the millage rates can go up. And first of all, the 3% per year increase only applies to the assessed value of your house, okay? The 3% per year increase does not mean your property taxes, the actual bill itself, cannot go up by more than 3% per year. It only means that your assessed value of your home cannot go up by more than 3% per year. Well, that doesn't matter, right? Because they can raise the millage rates on any of the taxes that you see on your property tax bill, which even if your assessed value doesn't go up at all, will lead to you having a higher property tax bill. This in fact happened to me, which is probably when I brought this up last on the channel, because even though I have a homestead exemption, my property tax bill went up something in the neighborhood of 13%, okay? The actual amount that I paid from year over year jumped by 13%, even though it's only supposed to be 3%. And if you actually calculate it out, you know, you might find that yours is jumping more than 3% per year as well. So unfortunately, the Florida homestead exemption, it doesn't help nearly as much as people would like to think it does. It does help keep your property tax bill lower than if you didn't have it at all. I'm not saying it doesn't help at all, but it doesn't help nearly as much as you think it does, and it specifically doesn't keep it from going up more than 3% per year. So hope this helps, answers your question. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, that's a really nice crossbow. 251% damage. That'd be good for taming bassies. Easy. That's very good. Hope I never lose it though. Alright, so I don't think that guy's gonna convert simply because that Oviraptor needs maybe a couple more RG eggs. I was gonna tame that RG. You tame a female RG, you can immediately use her to get eggs. So if I tame a couple of low-level female RGs, I should be able to make enough eggs. Because this one I'm on is a female. Yes, brother. Yes, brother. What you need? It's okay. It's okay. You want to hang around here? Hang here for a bit. I'll put you outside later. It's not going anywhere. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna try to put away this because I can actually make a piece of matter of fact, oh, we're at an hour, so I'll go ahead and let you guys I'll go ahead and let you guys go, and I'm going to focus on trying to get some of this stuff done because I still haven't really moved everything in here. I'm supposed to have everything in here instead of the boat. So, yeah, my guess is right. I still got everything in here. It's like, yeah. Oh, let's move you in there. Can't believe I have berries left over, dude. I got a good Pelagornis saddle. I wanted to get a Pelagornis and go over there and farm stuff over there, but so far no go. Let me make some more bullets since I got this set up here. That housing market's been crashing a long time already. He goes over the play-by-play, and I'm like, shit, man. Every time you're just like disappointed that there's anything going on at all. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna leave that guy up there. He'll become conscious again after a while. Then I need to get probably three easy to tame birds, and then I can get the eggs necessary at once, because I only put a pterodon egg and I put one of the bird eggs, and it was like halfway or so, or part way. I need at least 3, I think, to get that done, and ready to mate in 3 hours. Disable mating. So I don't really have good raptors. I have one good raptor here. That's about it. I only got one of these things. So. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Once again, respect out to Michael Bordenero. They're desperate to keep home prices high forever. See, it's just the squeeze, guys. Everything is so interrelated. It's the squeeze. They're just trying to keep everything as oppressive as possible. And they're doing this on purpose. There's nothing here in this reality that is without a plan. Nothing without a long-term agenda or goal. And their goal is just to squeeze the shit out of you just because they can. They know that they're going to lose power in this world because people are fed up and they're just going to stop obeying. But the thing is, the psychological operations are, if you rebel, you're a terrorist. If you say no, you're wrong, because that person's in authority and you don't say no to somebody in authority. So the individual has been completely washed out of the cloth. There is no individual anything anymore. And that's what a lot of these people, they don't see that. They think that the individual, because they're headstrong, because they're an individual, Well, go to jail, go to prison sometime. You'll see how strong and headstrong they are. They break people down, all in the name of trying to save them, but they assume that the people in charge are the good guys, and that just isn't the case. The people in charge are the bad guys who are mismanaging funds, making excuses, and being socially irresponsible. Okay, it's not the poor people. The poor people don't have choices. Those choices were taken away from them when they don't have money, when they don't have control over their own lives. So anyway, nobody will probably believe me, but all this was inevitable because of the system of corruption that we're living with. Oh, there's this lady. I wanted to throw this one on, but we're already about an hour. I think I'll hold her for next time and get these guys out of the way. And I'll pick a couple of other videos, probably make another session. All right, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.